Okay, before we start the show, just want to note, John Harbaugh got fired by the Ravens while we were recording this episode. So we are going to talk about that, but when we find out about it later in the episode, we'll have in the episode description the timestamp if you want to hear directly about that. But there's a reason that when we're talking about all the coach firings, we're not talking about John Harbaugh. So we will get to that, I promise. Okay, let's start the show. Welcome to the Ringer Fantasy Football Show. My name is Danny Heifetz, and I'm joined by Danny Kelly and Craig Horlbeck, and we have a lot in the show today. A bunch of coaches got fired. We're going to go over that, and Danny Kelly has his mock draft 1.0 up on theringer.com.
Yeah.
Thank
DK.
you. Glad you picked up on that.
Heifetz doesn't get it.
I didn't hear you.
He hasn't seen Dumb and Dumber, which is,
What did you say?
to this day,
Crazy.
the weirdest thing ever.
I know. I'm ashamed of it.
Yeah.
Watch it and then listen to the rewatchables with Jennifer Lawrence.
I listening to that rewatchables.
Anyway, sorry, what were you saying?
Well, you have a mock draft up at theringer.com.
Yeah.
People can go and look, and it's incredible. He got everything right. So we'll just go over that. And
I nailed it.
Yeah.
You're done. You're done. It's January 6th. Celebrate. But
Hayes in the barn.
you don't need to do any more draft work. You figured
It's
it out.
amazing.
Yeah.
And we're going to go through, again, a ton of coaching news. The Raiders fired Pete Carroll. The Browns fired head coach Kevin Stefanski. The Cardinals fired head coach Jonathan Gannon. The Falcons fired Raheem Morris, the head coach, and the GM Terry Fontenot. And their president and CEO of the team got promoted into irrelevance. Dallas fired the defensive coordinator. The Giants did not fire Joe Shea, the GM. There's just a lot going on. The Dolphins didn't fire Mike McDaniel, so he gets to hire a GM. And then Tua was like, he was asked about playing for a new team. He said it would be dope. A lot happened.
Stop allowing him to talk on camera.
He hasn't said one normal thing in years.
Yeah.
But first, just a quick bit of housekeeping. So starting on Sunday, we are going to be on Netflix. So this show's going to be on Netflix. If you
It's a
listen to
big
our show,
time.
yeah, there you go. Big time froze coming from this show. Big time froze.
Big time shows.
Big time shows. Big time froze.
Ooh.
Big time foes. So if you listen to our show as an audio product, you're good. Nothing's going to change. If you watch our show on Spotify, you're good. Nothing's going to change.
Great.
If you watch our show on YouTube, the show is not going to be on YouTube going forward. So there still will be a version. You can still watch on Spotify video. You can still watch on Spotify the free version. So you don't have to have Netflix to watch our show going forward. You are able to watch it on Spotify. But it'd be a lot cooler. You also could watch it on Netflix. You could watch it on
Cooler if you
Spotify and
did.
put it on Netflix too, and like watch both at the same time.
Double
Either
up.
one.
Yeah. If you want to see Craig's face in 4K, come on over to Netflix.
No one wants to see that.
So again, covering the playoffs, covering free agency, the draft. DK, our draft expert here at the Ringer. We're going to be going through the draft, the offseason, the summer. You're going to be able to do that all year. So you can go type in Ringer on Netflix. We're there, and you can go and hit the little remind me button, and then so that's Sunday. But also, if it's an audio thing for you, then no changes. Enough plugs. Let's get to the real show here, which we're going to be honest. It's a tough time for fans out there. It's a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, conspiracy theories. Was Kevin Stefanski trying to sabotage Shedeur Sanders? It's January 6th, and let's be honest, this is the day, Craig, I think a lot of fans storm the front offices of their teams.
Yeah, I mean, Austin Gale specifically. Austin Gale might have single-handedly gotten Pete Carroll fired. Do we have proof of life of Pete Carroll? Because Austin Gale has his pitchforks out for him. We were talking to him. He's a huge Raider fan before the show started, and he was like, I'm so excited for this show. I love the offseason. The offseason is the best time of year. He's like, I'm a Raiders fan, and for us, fuck the season.
Yeah, this is the show. This is the show.
And there is a little bit of that. You know what I mean? It's like, I like talking about fantasy football in August more than I do in September. Like, it's the best. When you don't know what's going to happen and anything is possible, it's fantastic. And honestly, it starts today.
There's an element, it's similar to roster baiting, Craig.
That's right.
I mean,
which is what Aaron Rodgers does every tush push.
Just put your hands on your hips and look at your roster for a while.
One hand on the hip. The other one,
eye contact. Yeah.
Prolonged eye contact. All right, so we're going to run through all the firings. There's been a good amount here. Do they call it Black Monday? Is that what we call it?
It is called Black Monday, but
colloquially.
Yeah.
That's not right.
Colloquially.
Yes, that's it.
Colloquially.
You don't say that well.
Heifetz, you try.
Colloquially. Colloquially. Colloquially.
It's kind of a tongue twister.
There are some words that are not one syllable or two. They're 1.5.
Right.
Like colloquial is like 4.5.
Colloquially.
Colloquially.
I'm never going to try and say that again.
No, we should. That's
I'm putting that.
Also, the
I'm
word
putting that word
colloquial
away.
is not colloquial. It's just
That's a great call. Very
Yeah,
not
that's
colloquial
ironic.
word.
it's not colloquial at all. That word's lost all meaning.
It's a word like fancy, like English posh people would go and say, like, that's how they describe how the normal people say.
Well, speaking of Austin Gale being excited for the new chapter of the Las Vegas Raiders, should we start with the Raiders firing Pete Carroll?
My pick in the preseason for Coach of the Year.
Dude, after week 1, they beat the Patriots.
They beat the Patriots.
They beat the Patriots.
Started
The
hot.
number
Honestly,
one
first
seed,
half.
14 wins.
They went 1-0, beating the Patriots, and then went, 2-14 after that?
1-14 in the middle, and then they won again in week 18 versus Chris Oladokin for the Chiefs.
Chris Oladokin. So they kept their GM, their new GM, John Spytek, who is a real person, I'm pretty sure.
Brady kept Spytek,
Brady, right.
of course.
So yeah, the Raiders have the number 1 pick in the draft. They had just about as bad of a year as you could have hoped for. They were dead last in points, yards, and first downs. Heifetz, what are your? I guess do either of you think this was a bad move?
No, I'm probably like the biggest Pete supporter at this point in time left. I still think he's like, I don't know, maybe a good coach is like too far at this point just because of obviously what happened. I think in the right situation, he'd still be a very good coach, but nothing worked the way that they thought it would work. Like Pete came in and tried to change the culture. It sounds like there was just too much weird stuff going on in the background. It just didn't catch on. The players didn't buy in. They didn't have enough talent. I think it was the right move. I think I was wondering if they would have the money to do this, but I think it was ultimately the right move to fire him.
I don't normally endorse firing a coach after one season, but I think they had to fire him. I mean, the whole Pete Carroll's whole thing is competitiveness, right? DK?
Right.
The Raiders were not competitive. They just were not
100%.
competitive under him. And frankly, every decision Pete Carroll made was wrong. I mean, I keep saying this. 6 of the teams they played had the best game of the entire season against the Raiders, right? And you can try to blame Chip Kelly, the offensive coordinator, who Pete Carroll hired, but every decision Pete Carroll made was wrong. Like, they traded for Geno Smith, and Geno Smith led the league in interceptions. And you're like, well, maybe it's the coach's fault. It's like, well, the quarterback coach is Pete Carroll's son.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, well, maybe it's the offensive line. I mean, Geno Smith led the league.
It was
in sacks.
the offensive line. Yeah.
You're like, okay, well,
Who's
offensive
coaching him?
line coach is Pete Carroll's other son. And so you're like, well, maybe it's the running game. You're like, well, they drafted Ashton Genty, 6th overall. They were last in yards per carry with a running back taken 6th overall. You're
Who's
like, well,
awesome?
He will be.
Yeah. And guess what? Who's the run game coordinator? Also Pete Carroll's son.
He has
So
that many sons? Good God.
one
How many
son
sons
took
do
all
he
those
have?
jobs. O-line and run game. But you get the point. It's like he traded for the quarterback. His sons were in charge of the quarterback and the blocking, and they led the league in sacks and picks. And they just weren't a competitive team.
Yeah,
I
agree with DK in that. Like, if you just dropped Pete Carroll right now on a talented team, the Steelers, I think he could do a good job.
Yeah.
I think there are certain coaches like him where it's like, if he has the talent and he can create that buy-in, if he has kind of the right roster around him. When you have the number 1 pick in the draft and you're going to be bringing in a new quarterback, and the whole idea is like, okay, we are resetting once again and we need to start fresh. It's hard to do that with the oldest coach in the history of the NFL.
Yeah.
Not ideal.
I think this is like going to sound like I'm I don't know, like standing for Pete Carroll or whatever, but I do think like if you're looking at the parallels of the way that the Seahawks got started and versus the way that the Raiders got started, like I think number 1, the Seahawks had a little bit more talent. I think it helped that Pete Carroll had overall control of everything in the organization, where I don't think he had that in Las Vegas. It was more of like a collaborative thing between the GM and the owner and Brady and whoever. And then it did take like the stars lining a little bit of luck. Like if you remember in the Seahawks their first season under Pete Carroll, they went 7-9. They managed to make the playoffs, and then they had one of the most magical wins I've ever seen in my life to like ignite this flame. It's like, you know, the first year is kind of like the Beastquake to beat the Saints, who were the defending Super Bowl champions in Seattle after they had gone 7-9 and made the playoffs. Everyone's all mad about this, and then they won. And so I think there was an element of magic to that. And then after that season, the Seahawks started signing all these big free agents. It became a place where everyone wanted to go. There was excitement. They had an amazing facility in Seattle right on the water. Like I remember the vibe shift in the early part of the Pete Carroll era. And he was like doing things a lot of coaches weren't doing at the time. He's like playing music. He's got the college atmosphere. He's like out there running
take
around.
His shirt off thing.
Yeah, he's like playing catch with the players.
Standing up on his skin, just thinking about it.
I think that what I'm getting at here is it's kind of hard to recreate that magic. And he basically like it the embers went out before they ever could catch flame here in Las Vegas. It just didn't catch on.
It's hard to make 2-hit shows. You know what I mean? Like
Totally.
And you say, honestly, weirdly, the same thing that I related to what I was going to say, which is sometimes I think the more I do this, the more I realize that success is when someone who's been doing your kind of thing for a long time, and then the meta, the game within the game, moves to where you're going. And like, look at like the Chiefs, for example, with Andy Reid, who for like 25 years never really had a great running game. And then the Chiefs won 3 Super Bowls in a weird 5-year period where teams could kind of win the Super Bowl without really having a running game. Just a weird era of the NFL. And they kind of dominated. And Pete Carroll had these beliefs of how you should play defense. And then the Seahawks became one of the best defenses ever in a strange period, 5-year period of NFL history where that was the perfect way to play. And I actually think sometimes it's like the right man at the right moment. It's like Winston Churchill wouldn't have been a good leader in peacetime, but he was great for wartime. He was looking for a fight his whole life. And it's like a lot of life is like that.
They kicked him out right after the war was over.
Yeah, right. They're like, we don't need you anymore. You can't stay in charge. And I think that's kind of what this is with Pete. He's trying to do this defense from 15 years ago. And he's like, well, I'm coaching guys up. And I'm like, on something that has not been in vogue for 5 years. Like, and I know, and I harp on that point because they weren't competitive and he was trying to win. The Raiders lost to the Chiefs 31-0. The Chiefs had more points than the Raiders had plays. Like the Raiders played the Browns in Shadur Sanders and his first career start for Shadur Sanders. They lost by 14 points in Shadur's first start. Like the Raiders played the Eagles. The Eagles defense had their best game in 70 years. 7-0.
Jeez.
And the worst part about that is Pete Carroll was alive when they did that. But they, and so he was a good coach, but he did not show at all that he wanted to adapt to what's happening in the game now.
Good coach, great legacy, bad fit, the right move.
And going forward, the Raiders are now looking for their 6th coach in 6 years, which is really bad.
Damn.
Yeah, and how many of them are they still paying? 3?
Dude, probably 2. Yeah.
This is what I was saying. I think Pete might survive simply because they don't want to pay another coach, but
the next guy's going to have at least 3 seasons just because of that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. The next firing here. The Browns fired Kevin Stefanski, and they kept their GM Andrew Berry. I want to run through a little bit here what Stefanski did with the Browns. He's been the coach since 2020. So 1, 2, 3, 4. He had 6 seasons with him. And first of all, I want to start here. DK, I'm assuming you're kind of know where I'm going to go based on this question. But if you just had to blindly guess, like how old do you think Kevin Stefanski is? How old does he feel to you?
50.
He's 43.
Oh, sorry, Kevin. This is like being a president. Being the coach of the Browns ages you like really quickly.
Obama before and after. It's like smoking cigarettes.
Just looks like hell.
But no, you fell directly into my trap because I thought as well. I was like,
I was being genuine though. Like that, I was like 50. I don't know.
Pete Carroll is 73 and has the energy of a 43-year-old, and Stefanski is like 43 and looks like a 73-year-old.
Yeah. So
I'm 43, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I look young, but like
you don't have
just
as much
for
gray
reference.
as Kevin.
Yeah.
So Kevin Stefanski's 43 years old. He's won Coach of the Year twice on the Browns, which I feel like does not get. We don't really talk about that enough.
Coach of the Year twice, period, is like incredible on the Browns.
The Browns,
like recently,
twice.
They played 3 playoff games in the last 6 years, which is a lot more than most teams. I want to run through what Stefanski has done on the Browns. Bear with me here for a minute as I run through this.
Yeah.
His first season on the Browns, 2020, they went 11-5. They made the playoffs. He won Coach of the Year. His quarterback the entire time was Baker Mayfield. They were 11-5.
Was that Baker Mayfield's second year? First year? Second year?
Third
year? Second year.
Third. He was 20.
I think it was 2018. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's when they beat the Steelers in the playoffs. 2021, they go 8-9. Mostly Baker Mayfield as the starting quarterback. 2022, they go 7-10 with Jacoby Brissett and Deshaun Watson. So he started his career 11-5, 8-9, 7-10. Then 2023, he goes 11-6, wins Coach of the Year again, and his quarterbacks that season were Joe Flacco for 5 games, Deshaun Watson for 2, PJ Walker for 2, Dorian Thompson-Robinson for 3, and Jeff Driscoll for 1. They went 11-6 that year.
PJ Walker.
They went to the playoffs. They lost to the Texans. He won Coach of the Year with those quarterbacks. The next year, 3-14. His quarterbacks are Jameis Winston, Deshaun Watson, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and Bailey Zappi. And this year, they go 5-12 with Shador, Dylan Gabriel, and Joe Flacco. So he's 45-56, his total record. He's 1-2 in the playoffs. To me, if this is like you know what? It's stale now. He's been here for too long. We need fresh air. I get it. I think Stefanski's a great coach, and I think like Heifetz, he's interviewing. Schefter reported today that he's interviewing with the Giants on Wednesday.
He got job requests like immediately.
The Giants, I would be so angry if the Giants didn't hire him. I kind of think the Giants will hire Kevin Stefanski because of what you just said. They're going to look at that you made the playoffs with 5 quarterbacks.
To me, he is by far the best option out there right now, and he's probably the only guy who I genuinely feel like I know is a good coach.
I want to start and end with, I will always lean toward the right answer is Occam's razor is it was the Browns' fault because just, again, the Browns were reborn as a franchise in 1999, and that's like kind of the modern team. And in those 26 years, the Browns have had 10 GMs, 12 coaches, and 42 quarterbacks in 26 years. So like, it's probably the Browns' fault. But there is weird stuff with Stefanski because on one hand, objectively the most successful coach the Browns have had. Again, they have made the playoffs without him 1 time and with him twice. But also it's weird that the best game they had the best game the Browns have had in the modern era, Stefanski had COVID and was
like on his couch
watching on television.
The Browns had more playoff wins than the Steelers in the 2020s.
That's crazy. Like because
we're more than halfway through. Wait, no, we're exactly halfway through.
I guess Myles Garrett maybe was just bitter, but the fact that after again, Myles Garrett, quite the platform when you've just broken the sack record, and they ask him about Stefanski, do you want him back? And he said, he said, my experience with Kevin, like anything, we've had ups and downs. Unfortunately, more downs than ups. And then he just didn't say any. Like he kind of just had like a word soup, but didn't take. I mean, when Drake London is out here saying for the Falcons, he's like, I want Raheem Morris back with my entire heart. And then Myles Garrett is saying about Kevin Stefanski, I would have loved to make a little bit more noise in some different years, but it wasn't in the cards. Like he didn't
a little bit more
want
noise. Jesus Christ. They won 11 games twice. They won 8 games once. Like, what the hell was he supposed to do? You know why they probably liked Raheem Morris? Because it's been 2 seasons. And Raheem Morris is a great guy and a motivator and all that stuff. Myles Garrett has been with Kevin Stefanski fucking dogging it every year for half a decade. I understand that it's probably like the message is falling on deaf ears at this point. They're 8-26 over their last 2 seasons. Of course. Myles Garrett's probably like, yeah, I think this has run its course. I don't think that means Stefanski's a bad coach.
We'll talk. We're going to do DK's mock draft after we go through the coach stuff. But in terms of these coach openings, I don't know what you guys think is the best. I think the Browns one is the worst because there's a weird mix of pressure. Jim Schwartz, the defensive coordinator, if he doesn't get the job, like everyone's going to say he should be the guy. The defense is elite, but the quarterback room for the Browns next year is Deshaun Watson off a multi-Achilles injury.
Still there, by the way.
Still there.
Hanging
going
out.
to be on the team next year. Going to be making $46 million off of multiple Achilles tears because he tore it and retore it. And Shedeur Sanders. And then I assume also Dylan Gabriel. Like, that's your quarterback room entering next year for the Browns.
We don't talk enough about how Deshaun Watson retore his Achilles. He tore it twice.
Right.
I've never saved the Browns from this contract because basically they insured Deshaun Watson's contract for injury. And so they're getting reimbursed for games he missed for injuries and cap credits the following season. It's like a tax refund. Mm-hmm. And so they're getting the $46 million they spent on him this year credited to next year's cap. So they're getting it undone. So the Achilles surgery saved them.
They're like inviting him to like play all these extreme sports in the offseason.
Yeah, it's like Jalen Hurts has no golf in his contract. It's like Deshaun Watson's like, you have to go wakeboarding.
They're like, you should try skateboarding.
Did you guys have seen Tombstone, right?
Yeah.
There's a scene, Billy Bob Thornton is like this really, he's just swearing, he's a card dealer or whatever. And then Wyatt Earp like takes him by the ear and like throws him outside or whatever. And then they see Doc Holliday out there, they start chatting. And then Billy Bob Thornton's just like standing there on the side. And then finally Doc Holliday or whoever is like, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot you were there. You may go now. I'm just, that's like how I'm picturing like every practice with Deshaun Watson there. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot you were here. You can go now.
He limps away. Yeah. I think I would be very excited for you, Heifetz, if I want the Giants to hire Kevin Stefanski. I feel like him with that defensive line and with Dart and Neighbors and Scadaboo is great.
We can talk about the Giants. You mentioned the Giants. I mean, they kept Joe Shane as GM, and I just want to shout out Dan Dugan at The Athletic, who wrote, I just got to read this headline that they ran at The Athletic. I can't heap it.
He went hard.
The quote is, the headline, Giants' decision to bring back Joe Shane as GM makes it clear they have no standards anymore. And they said journalism's dead.
That is good for him.
this is the best thing. This article by Dan Dugan at The Athletic is the best article anyone has written on the Giants in 10 years. It's the best summary of it. I can't shout it out enough, but he points out, I won't go that deep into it. The Mara family that owns half the team is entrenched in the personnel department. They're unfireable, and this is the problem. And whether Joe Schoen is a figurehead or maybe he's incredible at his job, the point is, like, he's kind of cover for John Mara, who owns the team. His brother, Chris Mara, is like running the personnel department. John Mara's nephew also like runs the personnel department. He's like, and they're just entrenched over this. And the idea that they would keep a GM who, again, if you take out the 4 games, they like half of their last 8 wins were in week 17 and 18 to lose the number 1 pick. Literally, their wins cost them the number 1 pick. Take those out, they're 4-27 the last 2 seasons.
Are there any other parallels outside of Dallas? Because I know like Jerry Jones and his family kind of like run the Cowboys.
Yes.
Are there any other teams in the NFL right now that like the family guys are like involved?
It's the Lakers. When
also,
Lakers
I guess
just sold,
now the Colts a little bit with Irsay's daughter.
But she's involved. But I think Carly Gordon is doing like the due diligence to work in enough departments to know how people's jobs work. When the Lakers just sold to the Walton family, or I forget, Mark Walters, whatever his name is. The first thing they did when that deal closed is they fired all the Bus family members from the scouting department. They were ousted like day one.
It's just asking for trouble.
If the Giants sold to the Koch brothers, the widow of the David Koch, who bought a minority share because they needed money. Do you guys know this? The Giants' grandfather bought the team in 1925 for $500.
What's that in today dollars? Do you know?
I don't know, like
Not that much.
500,000. The rumor is it was like horse racing money, like the Steelers and Giants just like they had a good day at the track and they bought a football team that was in debt, and they just have this now. Anyway, don't even get me started. But they're everywhere.
No,
I
like getting you started.
They'd
This
all
is
be
great.
fired.
Heifetz, I saw there was an interview. I didn't watch the actual interview, but I was kind of seeing the excerpts from it. There was a spot where Joe Schoen was asked how he's going to find the next head coach. And he mentioned using AI to help.
Stop.
Did you see this part? Did you see this?
This was in the article?
No, I think this was different. Hold on. Let me pull it up. This is a tweet that I saw. It says Joe Schoen on a different approach this time in selecting another Giants head coach, mentions the longer runway to do research, blah, blah, blah. Watching Thursday coordinator press conference, as well as using AI in certain
I can do that too. I'm going to go to ChatGPT right now. Hey, who should the Giants hire as their next head coach? I'm doing it right now.
I'm like, dude, is there that many resumes? You're like using AI to like cull the resumes?
Hold on, DK. It's searching the web. Number 1, Kevin Stefanski.
Done.
Okay. There we go. Why are you using AI? Your whole fucking job is to make this decision.
DK, if you don't get up every morning and ask yourself, how can I leverage AI to do a better job? You're doing the wrong thing.
I mean, sure.
Just not a red-blooded American. You don't ask ChatGPT what to think. Number 2 is Mike McCarthy. Maybe these things need a better learning model. Anyway.
I think, yeah.
Shout out to
okay.
Dugan.
We can move on here. The next firing we have is the Cardinals fired Jonathan Gannon after 3 seasons. They went 3-14 this year. Overall, Jonathan Gannon went 15-36.
Arguably
the Cardinals.
A more obvious firing than the Pete Carroll one.
One of the more underrated disasters since this person got the job is Jonathan Gannon. The Cardinals have just been bad for a while now, and specifically with Jonathan Gannon, the defense never really took off as people expected. The Kyler Murray thing continued to be an absolute disaster, and they shadow benched him.
Austin had a stat the other day. Austin, throw it in the chat if you have it. So it was like his success rates on defense over the 3 years he was the coach of the Cardinals is like, I think 30th or worse every year. I can't remember off the top of my head, but the defense just never got better.
I mean, was it a firing or was it like a pew, pew, pew? You know what I mean? I don't know. But I think Gannon was fired in a nutshell. Like every team in the NFC West got better while he was the coach, except the Cardinals, who got worse. And like,
technically, hold on. Austin just sent it. Technically, they did get better. 23, they were 32nd in defensive success rate. 2024, they were 31st. And then this year, 2025, 30th.
All right. Give him 29 more years.
There you go. That's like Kyle Pitts had a touchdown. One his first year, 2 his second year, 3 his third, 4 his fourth,
By the time
5
he's
his fifth.
35, he's going to have 15. That'll be great.
Like feel like 30 touchdowns a year eventually.
What happened to patience in this league?
Do you know how many games the Cardinals won in their division this year?
Fucking zero.
Zero. They went 0-6 in the division. Their last 4 divisional games, the Cardinals are outscored by 90 points. And they, in 3 years, the record inside the division is 3-15. And so, like, that's it.
Ooh.
All the other NFC West teams are legit Super Bowl contenders. The Seahawks are the 1 seed. The Niners almost were the 1 seed, and the Rams might be better than both those teams, and they're also in the playoffs. And they're not even close. And the only excuse Jonathan Gannon has is, well, we're really injured, and that's true because the Cardinals actually have more players on IR than any team this year, and they probably had the most games lost of starters to injuries this year, like top 3 running backs and Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr.
You know,
and yet
what?
the Niners were the second most injured team, and they literally were almost the 1 seed in the NFC.
Right.
So
I don't want to hear it. Like Kevin Stefanski went 11-6 with Joe Flacco and Dorian Thompson-Robinson 2 years ago and still got fired. Like Jonathan Gannon, it doesn't make the cut. I'm sorry.
So do you think
100%.
We should pour one out because one of the more quotable coaches the whole time we've done this show. You got fire in your gut. You take the bus to work.
Did you take the bus to work today?
Got fire in your gut.
Yeah.
Unintentional comedy. We should rank unintentional comedy coaches.
That is great. Because I also liked it. I have to. Okay. Also, we saw him. Was it with you, DK? We saw him when you're outside St. Elmo's in Indianapolis, and only seeing him in person, and he was having a conversation. Hearing him, I was like, "Oh my God, he's Kendall Roy."
Yeah.
Right.
And hearing him in person, I was like, "Oh, like that's exactly who he is in real life."
This is like one of those things where, like, Joe Shane, take note, man. AI is not going to help you with this. Like, you're going to be leading a team. During the offseason, it's like 100+ guys. In the season, 53 men on the active roster, and those men have to respect you. And these are like the alpha dogs of the fucking alpha dogs in the world. Most of these players are just fucking. You have to earn their respect. It just never felt like he could command a room. And we saw the videos. It was like so awkward and so weird. Every time he was interacting with a player, we're like, ugh, this is like the most cringeworthy thing in the world. I also think it's funny that if you see on Eagles Twitter right now, like everyone is like, oh God, this was the easiest. Like we could have told you this like immediately when he was hired. Like everyone on Eagles Twitter like hates Jonathan Gannon because he was fucking like interviewing. Yeah, he was like interviewing during Super Bowl week and all this shit.
So, I mean, an underrated thing about coaches and interviewing is Jonathan Gannon interviewed and silently accepted the Cardinals job during the Super Bowl. Then the Eagles gave up 38 points in the Super Bowl and lost the game. And which never gets discussed, but
it does get discussed by Eagles fans on
Twitter.
Twitter.
They changed the rule. You can't do that anymore, right? The interviews.
Yeah, but like,
I think it's there's less window now. Yeah.
Which of these 31 billionaire owners made $20 billion by like following all the rules?
Fair.
But anyway, it's kind of a bummer because I like having one less team in the NFC West to worry about. So now if they get a good coach, I'm going to have to worry about the freaking Cardinals now. I think the other thing to mention here is the Cardinals I don't know how many years they've been doing. The NFLPA has been doing these reviews of the there's like different aspects. They all they all take a poll of like how the franchise leadership treats them, how the facilities are, how the medical staff is, the food, all that stuff. I think the Cardinals have been either last or second to last the last couple of years. So like from top to bottom, the organization is, I think it goes under the radar that they're one of the worst organizations out there. I think everyone kind of like thinks
guys, they were taking box lunch deductions out of people's paychecks.
They're like making people pay for daycare during game days and stuff. It's like, I don't know.
The other one, I know we hit the Falcons one, but they fired Raheem Morris and they fired the GM Terry Fontenot, but they actually also fired the president and CEO of the team, Rich McKay.
I think that flew under the radar.
I don't know if people care, but he's there for 20 years. So it's like, I feel like that's that. Now I'm actually mad right now from Arthur Blank because he's in his 80s.
Yeah. Out of these 4 teams, well, I guess we should include the Titans and the Giants, right? So we just went through Raiders, Browns, Cardinals, and Falcons fired their coaches after week 18, and then the Giants, Titans fired their coaches midseason. That's it, right? 6 openings right now.
Yeah, I'm
Who's
biased.
the best one?
I think I'm biased. I think the Giants are the best. All these teams are flawed, but like organizationally too. The owners, if you start to think about it, they're all kind of weird. But I think the Giants are the best. You have Jackson Dart is like legit good, and you have a left tackle. You have defensive line pieces. Like there's more there with the quarterback than I think anywhere.
Yeah, I think I would probably go Giants 1. I think maybe you could talk yourself into Cam Ward, the Titans 2, and then it's Falcons 3 just because of the talent on the team. And then you're kind of bottom of the barrel with Browns, Raiders, Cardinals.
I would say Raiders next. I would say the Raiders are there solely because you have the first pick and you could take Fernando
I guess
Mendoza.
it depends if you think Mendoza is better than Cam Ward.
Do you think Fernando Mendoza is better than Cam Ward, DK? If Cam Ward was in this draft, but we hadn't seen him in the NFL yet, who would you take first?
Off the cuff, I would probably still take Cam Ward. But I mean, there's going to be teams I think that do like Mendoza more just because of the type of passer he is. He's like a rhythm timing passer. I'm sure people are going to love the fact that he like was instrumental in elevating Indiana to a national football like contender.
The Indiana thing is actually the most insane thing. Indiana was just a punchline for literally like they were the worst team in college football for 150 years.
And I think that's the exact type of player you need. It's not just Fernando Mendoza that's done that. They have a good team, but like, you know, a player that can elevate a program that has done nothing before, like that's exactly what you're looking for. Like the narratives like make a ton of sense for him to go to the Raiders right now and kind of like help them, you know, pull that team out of the funk that they're in. But I think, you know, how he's put together in terms of like his personality, his leadership, the way that he plays football. I think there's going to be teams that love this guy. But I think like tools wise, Cam Ward's way more exciting. And I don't know. What do you think of Cam Ward's rookie year? I don't really know what to make of it. I think overall it's promising.
I think he was great. I mean, it doesn't have to be like an amazing rookie year, but like he flashed. I mean, look at the gap between Drake May having flashes and Drake May's probably going to win MVP this year. Cam Ward, I think he had more flashes than Drake May did. He played every snap. He ended the season in a sling, which is crazy. I think Cam Ward was great and got better. I think you saw it early in the beginning, but there was like, obviously the Titans were awful, but Cam Ward consistently got better. I think he did the whole reason you draft guys for upside, like the uncoachable, unteachable, I'm going to make something out of nothing right here with Kamir DK just open. And like Kamir DK feels like Kirkland brand Deebo Samuel. Like he's unbelievable. And like the fact that you have a quarterback with like, I mean, I think DK is like a legit guy. And I think, you know, and everything else, there's enough of an offensive line there too that I'm very bullish on Cam Ward.
Yeah, I think the takeaway is like, I'm willing to see this out. And there were moments, if you check the stat sheet, Cam Ward looked terrible. If you actually watched Cam Ward, his receivers were terrible and dropped a lot of passes, and he made a lot of incredible throws. That was like pretty high level stuff. So, I would say it's like a hopeful TBD with Cam Ward.
But with that said, let's just go into the mock drafts. So DK, you have a mock draft up at theringer.com. And for those who don't know, DK is our draft expert here for, I guess, 8 years. And like you have an amazing 9 years, and you have an amazing big board that comes out like end of January, and just a whole draft guide that comes out, and it's awesome. And you are the player comp king, which we'll get into later this month. But you have your first mock because now the draft order is set. And
for the first whatever it is,
the first 18 picks or whatever.
This is your first and last mock, right?
Yeah, we're not doing it again.
I got it perfectly. And who cares about the other teams that are
Was it fun doing the first mock of the year for you?
It was. It's kind of fun to like sketch it out. I feel like mock drafts get made fun of a lot because there's a million of them, and you know you get like 3 right, and you're like the greatest mock drafter.
It's a little bit like talking about your fantasy football team. It's like, hey, look at my mock draft. It's like, hey, buddy.
That being said, I do think there's a lot you can learn from putting together your own mock drafts. Like, you go do a mock draft and like really think about what the teams need and what direction they might go. Like, you know, and it's instructive on what kind of players they have going into free agency, what guys on the team are getting older, what they have to start thinking. It is like one of those things where the exercise of doing a mock draft is a good way of kind of like getting a big picture of the NFL at large. And so that's, from that point of view, I think it's fun, even though I'm sure I'll get like 0 of these right.
Doing mock drafts, it's the ultimate bell curve meme of like the dumb guy in the beginning, and then there's like all the nerd stuff in the middle, and then the wise guy at the end just agrees. Like, it's the ultimate, like, I think they're going to take DK Metcalf. He's ripped. And then you do all this in the beginning. Well, he can't actually turn. He kind of turns like a battleship, but he actually had a neck injury and all this. And it's like, nah, the Seahawks took him. He's ripped.
That's like me and DK's mock. I do my only mock the day before the draft, and DK does 20 all offseason.
We didn't make a big enough deal about this. There's this competition called the Huddle Report. I forget how many. I think hundreds, maybe thousands of entries. And we joked about it, and we didn't submit it on time because we forgot. We joked. Craig just did a mock the Wednesday morning before the draft.
With his sources.
And there's 2 ways they grade it. Direct team to player comparisons, and then just how many players in the first round. Craig got 31 of the 32 players in the first round, correct? Which would have won the competition. And we
Heifetz, I did that the year before. I got 31 out of 32.
We enter the goddamn thing. we would have won it 2 years in a row.
No, as soon as I enter it, I'm going to get the worst grade of everyone in the world.
Well, that's why we need to remember, but won't tell you.
Yeah, on the flight to, where was the draft? Chicago? On the flight to Chicago, I did it. I threw headphones in for an hour, kind of was polling my
It's like
sources.
Doctor
kind of
Strange.
like,
Yeah.
a lot of things are coming in and out of my ears. I was doing a lot. It took about an hour. That's all I need. That's all you really need. Keep that in mind, DK.
You're like Tom Cruise in Minority Report, like putting all the different stuff on the
I put on
screen
my
and
weird
moving it around.
gloves and throwing shit around. They always need gloves. All right, yeah. Do you want to just run through this mock? We'll start here with the Raiders, first pick in the draft. Austin Carroll, a new beginning. You have the Raiders taking Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah, and mainly for the memes. That's what I'm looking for. Fernando Mendoza, kind of like a dorky, white bread dude.
He speaks in
Kind of.
LinkedIn paragraphs.
Okay, well, you know what I mean. He's like in the Kirk Cousins area as like
He
kind of like
makes
a
Kirk
dorky
Cousins
guy.
look like 50 Cent.
Yeah, and him going to Vegas is just gonna be the
I live
memes
in
are gonna
DC.
be out of
He's
control.
like a really enthusitic Capitol Hill intern.
Yeah, totally.
It's like real eager beaver.
Eager Beaver is exactly right.
I don't know. I think there's the jokes about like, oh my God, Fernando Mendoza in Vegas is like the weirdest fit. Maybe it's great. Maybe you need somebody who
You need someone who's not going to want to leave the facility.
Yeah, look, if they start an NBA team in Vegas, you probably don't want James Harden. Like maybe Fernando Mendoza is the perfect pick for Las Vegas.
It's the ultimate
He's just going to go to like Wizard of Oz at the Sphere every night. That's all he'll do. Like,
He's going to go to Circus and,
Dude, the fact that he could just talk like that after just absolutely throttling and like at the end of the Bama era of college football, and he just like pantses them. And I know it's the whole team in the defense, but like he is he's really good. And
yeah,
DK, you don't have to have a final answer here, but how would you explain who's his comp ish, or what is the mix? Like, how would you explain Fernando Mendoza?
So shout out Nate Tice. His first comp was Matt Ryan. And I can definitely see that. I've seen the Jared Goff comp thrown out a lot too, because Goff, if you remember, he was the first pick, and Goff he's not mobile, and I don't think Fernando Mendoza. I think he's more mobile than Goff, but he's not
more
like
mobile
super
than Goff
mobile.
and Matt Ryan.
Yeah,
I see it though.
But like he's more of like he's in that category of drop back, hit your back foot, timing, accuracy, throw with anticipation, distribute the football. He's got a pretty deep ball. He's been good on like the money downs. And so like there's a lot to like there, but I think that's it's like the CJ Stroud, Jared Goff, Matt Ryan pocket passer sort of archetype, I think is kind of what you're looking at.
I'm excited to form my entire opinion of him based on this Oregon game coming up.
The fact that, I was going to say, the fact that Indiana,
the guy that they're going against too,
in the college football playoff is playing Oregon. And if he enters the draft, which we'll get to, but Dante Moore Jr., the quarterback from Oregon, would be, what do you think? Is he I guess Mendoza's
he
the
could be the first pick. Yeah. I think it's like, it depends on the team. It depends on what they're looking for. I think Dante Moore is like the classic, the tools are better. It's kind of like exactly the conversation we just had with like Cam Ward. It's like the tools are better. And I think the upside, whatever that means, is probably like higher. But Dante Moore, 1 year and change as a starter. So there's not as much film out there on him. I think the impression right now I have is that people will go back. Or that Dante Moore will go back to school, but who knows?
Craig said as an offhand comment that the Jets getting the second pick means Dante Moore will go back to school. And it's been rattling around my head all week. I'm like, that just sounds true. We'll see what happens, obviously.
I mean, he's only played one real season in college football. Like
and also Oregon is not short on cash, if you will.
Like Phil Knight.
He get $5-6 million or more to come back and try to win another national championship if they win this year. And it's like, and you won't have to go to the Jets. I mean, the caveat there is like, that doesn't guarantee the Jets won't be terrible again next year, and you might just end up on the Jets anyway.
I know, right?
Let me read you an email from Nick, because I think that this sums up what many people are thinking as they listen.
So
Nick wrote, I was considering reaching out just because of Craig having that thing of like Dante Moore will go back to school to avoid playing for the Jets, which isn't like Peyton Manning did that. He went back to Tennessee because the Jets had the first pick. Good job. Right. So Nick wrote, I too would not advise anyone to play for the Jets. However, $52 million is $52 million, which is the projected guaranteed money for the number 2 pick this year.
It's very different, yeah.
And so Nick writes something Dante Moore might not get if he waits until next year for a better situation with potentially more depth, or potentially getting drafted by another bad team. Seems like a potentially bad business decision. With the draft class next year that might be better with quarterbacks overall talent. People like Jeremiah Smith are there. So maybe now is an excellent time to sell that highly drafted quarterbacks drafted by the Jets and Browns, like Baker Mayfield and Darnold and Geno Smith, have succeeded elsewhere. And Nick says, I've never been offered $52 million to do anything, but if I had the opportunity to be the number 2 pick in the draft or go back to Oregon and make good money, I would go to the draft, which
I mean,
Why
that's
is it-
yeah.
Of course, that's always the argument. Is like it's a risk to go back. You could get hurt. Things change. You don't play as well. There's better quarterback competition in the draft, and then before you know it, you're like the 28th pick, and you're making half the money, which is totally fair.
I don't know. There's multiple ways to see it. I actually disagree with Nick. I think this is exactly what NIL has changed. Because you know what sucks ass, which, not in theory, but in reality, is being the quarterback for the Jets. You know what's really sick? Being the quarterback for Oregon.
And getting like $6 million to do it.
That's the thing. He's getting $2.5 now. $2.5 million, I believe now. The NIL reporting is weird. He could probably get $4, maybe he might push for $5 million for Dante Moore to stay at Oregon.
I think in addition to the money, there are real reasons that he would go back, which is to get more experience at the college level. He's only been a starter for 1 year and change. So basically he started a couple games for UCLA, but then sat behind Dylan Gabriel last year.
Yeah, he sat 5 games for UCLA 2 years ago, and then since then he's played 13 games.
The history of guys that have played that few starts in college going to the NFL is like it's littered with guys that just never developed. So I think it's like he has, it's more than just purely, I get more money if I go to the NFL. Like you're thinking about your entire career here. Like I just need the reps.
There's a larger conversation we're going to have about quarterbacks, and just, there always was an apprentice era where guys would, and it used to be you'd go to the NFL and you'd sit for a couple of years and that was normal. And now it's like, you're going to play college football for a lot of money if you're good. And that's going to be the apprenticeship. And I think that's kind of what we're going to see with guys going back. But if it was any other team, I feel like we would say, well, I don't know, Craig. I mean, I feel like we're in that era now. Like we're in the post Anthony Richardson era, and whether it lasts 2 years, and then we have one good example of an inexperienced guy reverses it. But I think we're in this for the medium haul.
I agree. I think the combination, say what you will about NIL and how you think that's affecting college football. For this specific example, if this makes quarterbacks stay in college a little longer, develop a little longer because they can get paid, stay at the same school a little longer because they can get paid, and then develop more and come into the league a little bit more prepared and ready. And it makes this whole rookie quarterback drafting a little bit more consistent and predictable. And these guys can step into these teams and actually be productive in year 1 and 2. I think that's kind of just like a floor raiser across the board. It's better if you're a fan of Oregon, and it's better if you're a fan of whatever team takes Dante Moore next year.
It'll be good and bad because, as Brady put it eloquently, because again, Brady, when he's not announcing a game, is like still the best person talking about football. And he was like, you used to learn a program and now you learn a playbook. And now guys are going to transfer 3 or 4 times and learn to play. You know what I mean? It's like kind of going to stunt development in some ways, and NFL teams are going to have to adjust. The funny thing about the Jets, specifically for Dante Moore, is I think if it was any other sign on the door other than the Browns, we'd be like, this is a great situation. Garrett Wilson's a legit number 1 receiver. Mason Taylor is a highly thought of prospect, a tight end who had a solid rookie year. The offensive line, they have a first-round pick at left tackle. They have a first-round pick at right tackle. They have a first-round pick at guard. They have John Simpson. Like, they have a good offensive line. The problem is they're the Jets. They haven't had a good quarterback since Joe Namath. And then we got an email from, his name is Sam Teets. And Sam Teets, he covers the Chiefs, so I'll give him the shout out.
Nice.
Sam Teets.
Sammy.
Yeah, but Sam Teets sent me this. I couldn't believe this. Calvin Johnson's best 17 game span, he had more receiving yards than the Jets had passing yards in 17 games this season. And in that span, Calvin Johnson had as many 200-yard receiving games as the Jets had 200-yard passing games this season.
I know it's not just like, oh, the Jets are the Jets and you can't go there because it's like the ownership. And there are like actual tactile reasons why you wouldn't want to go to the Jets. Because Heifetz, I think you made a great point. Like, there are pieces. I don't know, Garrett Wilson, the offensive line, Breece Hall, whatever. But I love that there is still just like, yeah, but it's the Jets. And that like actually factors into decisions that this like hex, this cloud that hangs over this team actually is influencing the way players make decisions. I think that's hilarious. And it still is like a little bit of, people say that analytics ruin sports. And I love that there's still a little bit of like, yeah, but it's the Jets. It's the Browns.
There's a certain teams have a certain DNA that they can't like escape. And I think with the Jets in particular, it's like the ownership, it permeates things. The other thing I think that's really applicable here, colloquially,
that sounded better that time,
is that it sounds like the Jets, I don't know this for sure, but it sounds like the Jets are keeping Aaron Glenn as head coach.
Yeah, they definitely are.
And
I mean, you have
that's going to happen. That's going to go for another year, and then they're going to fire him.
Yep.
And so like, if you're, a quarterback, any quarterback coming into the NFL, and you're like, I'm probably going to go number 2 to the Jets. And after a year, the head coach is going to get fired, And then we're going to have some other random fucking guy that I don't know come in. Maybe he'll like me. Maybe he won't.
Also, Garrett Wilson, probably gone.
Yeah. And Breece Hall, gone after this year.
Yeah.
And then it's like, these are like more tangible things. Like, I guess it's not 100% certain that they'll fire Aaron Glenn after one more year, but like, that's kind of like the writing on the wall here is that not only you're going to the Jets, but you're going to the Jets. They're probably going to have a new coach after 1 year. Then you're going to have a new fucking playbook, a new system. Maybe you don't get along with the new coach. Maybe you don't get along with like whatever. So like, there's I think there's legitimate reasons to like, not to go back to school. But that being said, I did put Dante Moore here to number 2 to the Jets because we don't know if he's coming out or not. I think there's a chance he might.
Here's the truth. None of us possess a fraction of the confidence required to be this good at quarterback. And so they probably like the truth is other people in their life may think about it, but the players don't give a fuck. It's like, they're just like, you need so much confidence to be this good at quarterback that worrying about it is almost a red flag.
All right, third pick here, Arizona Cardinals. You gave them Spencer Fano, the tackle out of Utah. I have no thoughts.
You didn't like his tape, Craig?
You weren't watching Utah tackles all college football season, Craig?
Not a lot of Utes tape for me so
There's
far.
2 Utah tackles in this class that are
the
probably
2 Utes.
First round. The 2 Utes.
The 2 Utes.
Toots. The Toots.
I generally
Did you
never
say
have an
Utes?
issue with somebody taking a lineman. Like anytime you're like tackle, I'm like great pick.
I think this is going to be another meat and potatoes draft. I think we talked about this last year where it's going to be like a lot of edge players, a lot of defensive tackles, a lot of offensive tackles, maybe throw in a few guards. It's just going to be one of those drafts where it's like less sexy and just more just like, I want a guy who's really huge and he can block.
Well, the question I have for you here, DK, is if Kyler Murray is not on the Cardinals next year, is there a quarterback at 3 that Arizona could take if Dante Moore and Mendoza are gone? Or no shot?
No.
Or a quarterback the Jets could take if Dante Moore goes back to school.
Yeah.
Right now, the other guy that's like in the conversation is Ty Simpson, but I don't think he's going to declare based on recent play.
Sure, he got benched.
There's other guys in the class, but I think generally speaking, most of them are considered like day 2 guys at this point. Or late round 1. Nussmeier, Drew Aller. I think some of these guys are going to transfer.
And Drew Aller had a bad injury this year, right?
Yeah, he missed a lot of the
year for Penn State. And I believe, Garrett Nussmeier was benched at one point this season, right? That went from like fringe number 1 pick thoughts to
I liked him a lot last year,
man. Nussmeier and Aller, there was a time when those 2 were expected to be, top 5 picks in the draft.
The thing with Ty Simpson is just like before and after Halloween, it would almost be better if he was hiding an injury because honestly, a real demerit for loyalty because Ty Simpson went to Bama and waited his turn and got the job. And honestly, if Ty Simpson doesn't declare for the draft, I think he wouldn't start at Bama because they have this 6'6" gawky Trevor Lawrence clone. Honestly, the most interesting part of the Bama Indiana game was when the backup quarterback came in and threw freaking lasers. And I was like, there's no way Ty Simpson's playing for Bama next year unless he's hiding an injury. So the idea that Ty Simpson would enter almost because he couldn't win back the old Bama job is just like such a red flag where I'm like, how could you possibly pick this guy if he couldn't outdo the 5-star behind him at Bama? So, maybe he's a back end of the first, but yeah, it's a meat and potatoes draft. It's like there's 1 quarterback in Mendoza. If Dante Moore comes out, there's 2. Frankly, the drama is if Dante Moore comes out, there's no drama. It's Mendoza 1 and Dante Moore 2, and then Ty Simpson maybe is like a Tyler Shuck back early 2nd round pick or late 1st. And then other than that, it's freaking linemen, man.
Yeah, and there's some receivers mixed in. So let's just get to the next 2 picks here. You have the Titans at 4 and the Giants at 5. You have them both taking linebackers. For the Titans, you gave him Arvell Reese out of Ohio State. Mm-hmm. And for the Giants, you gave him David Bailey.
Outside linebacker, right? Like pass
rusher's edge. Arvell Reese is kind of like a linebacker / pass rusher hybrid type of guy. Super explosive, super flexible, like ascending type player. Super exciting. Heifetz, I actually had the Giants having him before the Giants won in week 18. So sorry about that. David Bailey's a good consolation pick though, because he's just pure speed off the edge, high energy player, tons of pressures, tons of sacks, tons of tackles for loss. He's always in the backfield. It's going to be very interesting kind of like what happens in the top of the draft this year, I think, because some of these guys like Arvell Reese, a little thin framed, but he could be picked apart because he's not quite big enough and strong enough. there's a bunch of pass rushers this year that are like short armed guys that I think teams are going to be balking about. If we're going to be talking about arms so much this offseason, it's going to drive you crazy, Craig.
What a dumb this is.
This will be the draft where we have to follow through on the joke that we actually should just get these guys tailored. We want to find out their suit sizes, and that, you know what I mean? Like that'll give us the inside track. I mean, well, the number one, Reuben Bain, the Miami pass rusher, who was considered like maybe a top pick in the draft, and then there was it's funny to say a rumor about our length. You'd think that AI could figure that out, but there's a rumor that Reuben Bain's arms are under 31 inches long, which I always laugh saying that out loud. But that I think
Dane Brugler. I don't know if reported is the right word, but he's like saying that that's what he's hearing, and so like it's
second percentile in the NFL, like literally at 98% of.
It's like you just don't really see pass rushers in the NFL with
like the shortest in the league,
right? It's like T-Rex out there.
Yeah, it's
so there's going to be a lot of that. So it was actually when I was putting together this mock, I was like, I don't know, the top 10 could be anything really. It just depends on what teams have. Like these thresholds that they want for certain players in terms of like their arm length or their weight or their body mass or whatever. There's going to be a lot of that kind of conversation, which I look forward to. It's going to be great.
The question I have for you, DK, is less the individual players, like give the outside linebacker Arvell Reese to Tennessee. I'm more curious about why you decided to go with defense for Tennessee versus offense, because, you have Cam Ward and the receiving room, is not great.
Yeah.
Is there a receiver in this draft? You have like a Carnell Tate going deeper beyond him. Like, is there any guy you think could be considered as like a top 5 pick in this draft, or not really from a talent perspective?
No, I do. I think the two guys I've seen that people I think consider the top 2 receivers in the draft are Jordan Tyson from Arizona State and Carnell Tate from Ohio State. I personally really like Carnell Tate. He is fucking fun to watch, Craig. I bet you'll like him a lot. He's one of those players that He reminds me a little bit of Devontae Smith, just like a little bit thicker version of Devontae Smith, where he's like really long, really twitchy, smooth route runner, and he just skies over dudes and catches everything. So he's going to be, to me, I think if I was going to make my list right now, he would be my number 1 receiver. I just really liked him when I watched him, and I think he's a really, really good player. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if he went number 4. Or even really number 3, I guess, the Cardinals, although they probably don't go for a highly ranked,
he could Marvin Harrison
Ohio State receiver again. Yeah.
The new great
but
coach.
I think Carnell Tate would be a guy that would not surprise me go in the top 5. I guess Tyson, Jordan Tyson is another one that might go that high, but he's got like injury history that I think some teams might balk at. Again, this is like, it was actually kind of hard to make the top 10 because I think there's like reasons that you can move every guy down.
A lot of variance. I think there's going to be a lot of variance in outside of, frankly, the quarterbacks at the top. And I think there's going to be variance. I agree that Spencer, like Fano, the tackle. And then I even like the Miami tackle. Let's see if I don't butcher it, but it's Mauioga. No, Maui
Francis Mauioga from Miami. I really like him a lot. But he is the classic. Some teams are going to see him as a guard because he's a little. He's not quite as tall and lanky and long as like a lot of NFL tackles that you see. So, this is the discussions we're going to have, but I really liked him a lot. I think like Heifetz, a lot of people are going to think Arvell Reese is the best player in the draft, but because of his size and everything, he might go down a little bit.
I'll tell you who the best player in the draft is.
Same with what you're going to say here. With Caleb Downs might be one of the best players in the draft, but no one's going to take a safety.
Well, Caleb Downs is the best player in this draft. And if you want to say quarterback, fine.
You're getting out ahead of it.
Take the quarterbacks out of it. Caleb Downs is the best player in the draft. And I'm saying this now. And if future me changes my mind, then I hope I hope this me punches that one in the face. Because Caleb Downs is like, Craig, you always joke like we could probably do a better job at the draft in January if we just stopped it right when the games ended and we just watched the games and we're like, no more information, please, outside of tell me if their knees are fucked. When I watch Caleb Downs, when he was at Alabama, it's like, well, he's as good as any Bama defensive back I can remember. And then he transfers to Ohio State and they win the national championship. And it's like Caleb Downs is obviously the best defender at any position in America. And then it's like all offseason, it's going to be, well, you can't take a safety in the top 10. And then in the rookie year, it's going to be like, oh, wow, Caleb Downs is like already the top 2 safety in the NFL. And
I'm thinking of abandoning positional value altogether.
I think it's going to be a huge conversation this year because there's a huge gap between like Jeremiah Love at running back and the next best running back, and teams are going to talk themselves into it. And the thing about positional value, I think, is very misunderstood. Is people will be like, because the base point of it is like, well, you want to. I mean, quarterback obviously is important, but like, well, a left tackle or, it's a mix of supply and demand, but also, well, if the Justin Jefferson is like the best receiver in the NFL and he's worth, like, let's say $40 million a year, and you find a rookie who can be like that at like $8 million a year, then you're getting $32 million of surplus value. The problem when people apply that blindly is you should be factoring in what is the percentage chance you think that will happen. So
Right.
if Caleb Downs, you're
Totally.
like, I think there's a 90% chance that Caleb Downs is actually going to be worth the top end of the market. That changes it when you're like, well, let's just take a higher paid position, but the guy's probably going to suck. My confidence in Caleb Downs, you never know. I love Jeff Okudah at Ohio State. I am as confident in Caleb Downs, honestly, not since Kyle Hamilton. And that's the exact same conversation. Kyle Hamilton fell to the Ravens because he's a safety and he ran a 4.5. How fucking stupid does that seem now? How many people play faster than Kyle Hamilton?
Yeah.
Oh my God, guys! News. John Harbaugh got fired.
Get the fuck out.
Ian Rappaport, Ravens longtime decorated head coach John Harbaugh are parting ways after days of discussion.
Wow.
They're parting ways. This is like Pete Carroll. We're gonna not have you be the head coach anymore, but we're parting ways.
Mutual separation.
Huge.
So Harbaugh is the second.
Harbaugh out.
Longest tenured coach in the NFL. So Steelers, Mike Tomlin with the Steelers was number one, and Harbaugh's hired in 2008. I think this was brimming for a little bit. I'm curious what you think, DK. The
18 seasons. Wow.
The first thing I think of when I come to this, we were talking about like needing a new voice eventually. I think the truth is sometimes when you get really close multiple times, you can only it kind of breaks teams sometimes. And I think the Ravens, 2019, they win 14-2 and they don't win a playoff game and they had the best team that year. And then
Oh my God. Yeah.
2023, they had the best team and they should have beat the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. Zay Flowers gets chopped at the goal line and like fumbles the game away. They have the fewest designed running back carries in the history of the Baltimore Ravens and they lose on the doorstep of the Super Bowl. They were like the only team that'd be number one in defense and overall DVOA and not make the Super Bowl. And then the next year they get further and further away. Conference title game, and then your divisional round you lose, and then you don't make the playoffs. And I think, frankly, about how they got brain drained. And I don't know why it took so long for the NFL to brain drain the Ravens, but Mike McDonald leaves on defense, and suddenly Zach Orr isn't really the same coordinator. And like the Joe Ortiz, your freaking doppelganger, goes and runs the Chargers, and people need to go there. And then suddenly,
I have like 6 doppelgangers. I swear.
You do.
It's just all white, bald white guys.
He's your evil twin older brother.
Yeah. This is so interesting because I've seen, like the last few days, like obviously I said on the other show, I think Harbaugh's going to get fired. And then I kind of walked it back because I was like, oh, is that not like something people believe? Because I was just kind of like, truthfully, I was just basing it off. I was talking to my buddy Jay, who is a Ravens fan, and he was just like, yeah, I think it's like time. That's kind of like what I was like going off of more or less is like just the general gist that it feels like they need to move on. And so I was like looking at, basically kind of checking out like Ravens Twitter and stuff. And there'd been rumors the last couple of days that they were actually going to fire Todd Monken and Zach Orr and keep John Harbaugh. And everyone was like, what are we doing?
DK, you joke.
This is the worst case.
You joke about all the analytics for fourth down decisions. The perfect model would just be recreating what all the fans of the opposing team.
Sometimes, man, sometimes you just need to like get the bigger view.
Yeah, like your opponents figure out what they want. Do the opposite. Craig, you're a Steelers fan. You've rooted against John Harbaugh and the Ravens for 17 or 18 years. Gut check. Are you like more or less afraid of the Ravens firing John Harbaugh? Are you relieved by this or scared by this?
Probably scared because I'd be scared if I were you too, Heifetz. Now looking at where Kevin Stefanski's gonna fucking land.
Uh-oh.
No, dude. I mean, the Giants are gonna hire John Harbaugh. I'm telling you that right now.
You think so?
Well, if you're John Harbaugh, do you want to go to the Giants and the Titans? The only thing he'd be scared of is the ownership entrenched in the front office, but I don't think that outweighs. I think.
What about Stefanski? And
the Giants are going to want John Harbaugh. Let me tell you something. They're going to talk and pretend for some shit. They'll interview some people to do the Rooney Rule and satisfy.
They're interviewing Stefanski tomorrow, apparently.
Guess what? The Giants are going to hire John Harbaugh. I'm telling you right now.
And that's what mainly because the Giants love the idea of bringing in somebody with that name tag, that
steady
prestige.
Hand. Maybe let me rephrase. Maybe Harbaugh turns the Giants down.
Yeah,
I promise you, the Giants' preferred candidate will be someone that. I mean, after Pat Shurmur and Brian Dable and they would love someone who was a head coach.
Yeah. I mean, look, the Ravens have been underperforming. You know, we talked about how it's like it grew stale in Cleveland, even if Stefanski was maybe a good coach. It's kind of the same thing in Baltimore, where it's like they're just like they were just doing it in the playoffs rather than the regular season failing. But the fact that they never even got to a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson, it's just one of those things where it's like eventually it has to run its course. Maybe it's similar to Pete Carroll in Seattle, like ending.
I think it's very similar in a lot of ways. It's just like your voice. At some point, it's like you're doing the same speech every year, and you're doing the same program every year, the same strategy. It's just like it just gets stale.
I mean, think about like if you look at what the Steelers have done in this decade and what the Ravens have done in this decade. The Ravens are basically only averaging one more win per year than the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 2020s, and the Steelers have been rolling out Mitch Trubisky and Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett. And the Ravens have had Lamar Jackson this entire time, and it's never really materialized to anything.
So yeah, I think you're right. And here's the thing with the Ravens. I think, it's funny. My mom, who's like late friend, had this saying of like, beware people who keep the crazy on the inside. It's like I like people wear the crazy on the outside.
Sure.
The funny thing about the Harbaugh brothers is Jim Harbaugh wears the crazy on the outside.
Yeah.
He's just straight up crazy. Yeah,
I think John is very
chickens
similar.
are nervous birds, guys.
He walked that back.
He then raised chickens,
but they
Now
taste
he
pretty
owns
good.
he kept the coop.
Yeah.
But I think John,
Is he eating the chickens though, or is he just raising them?
I think he's eating
he's
the eggs.
dude, he on the eggs.
Okay.
This is we should at some
The fact that
point
we're having
rank-
this conversation is just more than enough to point out that he's a crazy person. Okay.
He's great. But my point with John Harbaugh is like, I think John has just as much of that in him, but it's a little more composed. But the difference, I think, is that the Ravens have had way more sloppiness in certain areas than you would want from someone who's been there so long. And it's like you could start to see the cracks and the fissures. I think, frankly, John Harbaugh there were just coaching decisions, certain timeouts, certain end of game situations that I think were just being made up by Lamar. Having said that, I think the Giants should hire him. I think I would take John Harbaugh. Like if every coach can't get thrown a hat in the ring, I'm like, give me John Harbaugh.
Yeah, but now you have to start talking about who's the OC going to be.
I don't fucking care. Let him figure it out. I'm like,
I mean, it does matter a lot.
okay, but like
You got a young quarterback.
I understand that, but like
the most important person in the building, more than John Harbaugh.
On who shows up. If Clint Kubiak shows up to the meeting and he's like, oh, well, he's like the most prepared candidate we've ever seen. This is like what Sean McVay sounded like. Then like, yeah, you should probably hire him. But I don't know. The truth is that when people are doing offensive stuff, offensive coordinators, it's like, that's not your job anymore. You have such a larger operation you're running. And like John Harbaugh's done that. But I actually trust Steve Bisciotti, the owner, to make the decision. I kind of think he's the only owner that I'm sure is like, it seems like a value add. I never really care much about the bios for anyone on their team websites, but I've always been interested that Steve Bisciotti's the owner of the Ravens on the own Ravens site. It starts with Steve Bisciotti wants consistency. His goal is to have the Ravens in the playoff hunt every season, avoiding dips that plague some franchises. And a lot of other people's bios are kind of bullshit, but like that's been crazy true. The Ravens went to Baltimore in 96 and they've basically been a Super Bowl contender like 2 out of every 3 years.
Do you feel like we just talked about, right? It's hard to do it twice. If you're the Game of Thrones guys, it's hard to make another one. 3 body problem.
Yeah.
Do you feel like Harbaugh is like the same way when Jim Harbaugh came to LA and everyone's like, this is just going to work. Like they're just going to win 10 games every year because that's what the Harbaughs do. Do you feel that way about John Harbaugh at 63 coming to the Giants after the Ravens?
Do you need a sabbatical in college for a few years?
It's crazy that he's
not sabbatical, but
exactly halfway in age between Mike Tomlin and Pete Carroll.
Is there any chance that Harbaugh takes a year?
If he doesn't like the Giants job, yeah, it's funny.
Waits for a better opportunity.
You know what's interesting is like we talk about Andy Reid, getting a little long in the tooth and stuff like that. I mean, I feel like Harbaugh used to work on the Eagles with Andy Reid. They're very close. You wonder if they take a year off, Andy Reid calls it, and then Harbaugh steps into the Chiefs.
Yeah, but that would imply that Andy Reid's going to see Mahomes tear his ACL and hang it up. I do think Matt Nagy is going to be the guy waiting in the wings for that Chiefs job. That's a good call. I think in 3 years, 5 years, DK makes a face, but I'm like,
I'm just like, oh god, that nothing could be less like tantalizing.
But Andy Reid's not going to get fired from the Mahomes era. He's going to pass it.
He would
on.
leave. He would retire.
I think my point is Matt Nagy will probably never take another job and wait and hopefully get that Chiefs job. And I think they would transition it internally. Maybe.
This is a bigger question here, which I think is really interesting, is who is going to be the Ravens coach? Because we have a 2-time MVP in Lamar Jackson. This is still a very talented team. Where are they going to go with this? Do you think they would hire from within, like Todd Monken would be the coach? Because he's getting head coaching interest.
No way. I think the offense looked horrible. I love Todd Monken. He's like a football Yoda.
He's getting head coaching interest is all I'm saying. Like
the Browns already gave Joe Flacco to the Bengals. Why don't they just give Kevin Stefanski to the Ravens?
DK, the Monken thing gets to the other reason I think this happened. I think it's 1/3. It's been a long time. 1/3, maybe Harbaugh had, there's stuff going on in the scenes we didn't know about, but it's 1/3. I think this is kind of a little related to when the Titans fired Mike Vrabel. And it was Amy Adams Strunk, the owner of the Titans, was fucking pissed that Matt LaFleur was crushing it in Green Bay. And Matt LaFleur was absolutely had the best winning percentage since John Madden.
The bell of the ball.
Won 13 games every season. She's like, we let this guy go and our quarterbacks suck. And she fired Mike Vrabel and hired an offensive guy.
Vrabel. Good God.
Yeah. But I want an offensive guy like Brian Kellen. I think part of this is that Mike McDonald just got the 1 seed in the Seahawks. I'm not saying that's the entire reason, but the Ravens defensive coordinator, which
interesting.
Obviously the Ravens defense was the quiet engine. The offense with Lamar has peaked and valleyed. MVPs, but also looked untenable for portions. Almost in an
letting McDonald
like
out of the building that's got to sting.
Yeah, it's like you want if basically they
what
probably
are you going to do? You're going to
fire
I know. To promote McDonald?
It's like an impossible decision.
No one ever does it. But in retrospect, you wonder if you should have.
Is a coordinator rises up, becomes a star, and they have to leave.
Yes, but it bothers you in retrospect. And I think that's the fear of having waited.
But then you make decisions on that later. It does happen. Yeah.
Heifetz, so right now you'd rather have John Harbaugh than Kevin Stefanski? He's 20 years younger.
That's crazy to say.
Wait, how old is Harbaugh?
63.
Wow. I would have guessed like 50.
I think I'd rather have Stefanski. Maybe that's an insane thing to say.
It's so funny because it's like it gets to the nature of like the truth is, and we talk about this all the time, is like it's hard to know why things succeed. Like even looking at
there's so many moving parts. Yes.
And the truth, and this is maybe a cop out. I want to hear their plans. Like, yeah, John Harbaugh. I'm like, all right, was a connected man. I want to hear his vision for Jackson Dart. And they need to hear it, and I want to hear Kevin Stefanski's vision for Jackson Dart. You know what? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Joe Shane doesn't want to bring John Harbaugh in because I got to tell you something. Now I'm thinking about it. The Mara family might be like John Harbaugh. Let me tell you something. It wouldn't be good for Joe Shane, I don't think, if John Harbaugh came. Because John Harbaugh's
like, why are you here?
What's AI got to say about this? Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of like, go get your shine box. You know what I mean? It's going to be like
Joe Shane sits John Harbaugh down. He's like, how are you planning to leverage AI to make the Giants better?
How are your prompts?
So, John, have you seen Boris Johnson, the British politician, say AI?
Them's the breaks.
He's like, I. He calls it like I.
Oh, AI. Like he spells it.
He's reading it.
He reads it. He's like, I. Yeah.
I.
Like Joe Shane's like, how do you use I, John Harbaugh?
Oh, that's good. It feels weird to go back to a mock draft now, but
I know.
Well,
I had a point I wanted to say about the mock draft. If we're ready to move on yet, or do you want to linger on Harbaugh?
I wanted to ask you guys that Joe Shane running the Giants search. Do you remember that scene in Hard Knocks where they were all his different kids were suggesting different quarterbacks?
Yeah.
Do you think we're gonna get another one? It's gonna be like one kid's like, I want John Harbaugh, and the other's like, I want Kevin Stefanski,
and the other one's like, Mr. Beast, do Mr. Beast.
Wait. So who should the Ravens hire? Sorry, before we move on.
It's funny because this is one of the what I've seen so far is like one of the least inspiring like coaching carousels in recent memory. Maybe that's just relative to like what we've had. Like last year was great, obviously, and the year before. But I honestly don't know. Like who are the big? Just list off some of the big candidates right now.
Well, I mean, Kevin Stefanski, which it's worth mention. I mean, first of all, Bill Barnwell had a great post that said John Harbaugh is obviously the best coach on the market, and the Ravens are obviously the best job on the market, which is absolutely true and kind of funny. It's worth noting, if we're talking about Stefanski to the Ravens were the Browns. The Browns moved to Baltimore in 96 and became the Ravens, and then the Browns were reincarnated in 99. So I'm not saying that they're that connected like an actual organization, but the Ravens not picking Stefanski would be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
They've coached against him for 6 years. Like if anyone you think would be in a position to understand, to be able to separate what did Stefanski do? What was he responsible for? And like, did he do a great job with what he was given? Or like, is he overrated or whatever? The Ravens passing on Stefanski, I think would be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, DK, to answer your question, based on there's been a lot of reports over the last day or two from like guys like Jeremy Fowler or Graziano about like who are the candidates out there right now. It's not that great. There's the guys who have been coaches before. There's like the Robert Saleh, Matt Nagy, Cliff Kingsbury types.
Kingsbury.
And then it's like a lot of like the hot young coordinators. It's like the Jags defensive coordinator, Anthony Campanile. It's like the Packers defensive coordinator, Jeff Hafley. There's Dayball in the mix. You have the Rams. The Rams DC, Chris Shula. The Chargers DC, Jesse Minter.
Minter is an interesting one because he came up in the Ravens organization.
And the Harbaugh, he's like a Jim John disciple. For Minter.
That would be very interesting.
Is there a world? If you're the Ravens, would you send a first round pick to Miami for Mike McDaniel? Be like, what if Mike McDaniel could design an offense for fucking Lamar Jackson?
I probably wouldn't, but it would be awesome.
If 2 years ago we'd be like,
I'd be like hoping he'd get fired,
yeah,
rather than sending a first round pick.
All these owners are having the same conversations about the coaching candidates, and I'm like, I think if we're gonna see a coach trade, it doesn't happen a lot. We might see it,
dude. If Stefanski goes to Baltimore, because Stefanski had 2 more years on his deal, so the Browns would have essentially paid out Kevin Stefanski for him to go to Baltimore and kick the shit out of them,
dude. If the Ravens hire Stefanski,
what's Tomlin got to say about this? They must be smarter than me.
Andrew Barry must be a lot smarter than me.
Can't eat soup with a fork.
Oh my God.
Can't go to sleep standing up. Wow. I don't know. I'm just imagining shit he would say. Wow. Okay. All right, so at 7, you have the Commanders taking edge rusher Keldrick Fultz.
Well, to get back to what we were talking about, because we got interrupted. Heifetz was talking about positional value and safety and all that
randomly
stuff.
talking about Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah, Kyle Hamilton is a good example. I just think, I'm thinking, because for a long time I sort of subscribed to the school of thought, like you should actually pay attention to like how much these guys are going to be making, how much value they bring relative to free agents and all that stuff. But now I think I find myself just going the opposite with it, because in recent memory, and I've been as guilty as anybody of like kind of like grading down for when teams take like lower positional value players in the draft. You think about like what the Lions did a couple years ago, and forgive me if I get the order wrong, but it was like Jack Campbell, Brian Branch, and Sam Laporta. And it was like off-ball linebacker, safety, tight end.
And Jahmyr Gibbs.
And guess what?
First of those 3.
And Jahmyr Gibbs, right. So it was running back, tight end, running back, linebacker, and then safety and tight end. I think those were their first 4 picks. And I was like, these are all the least valuable positions, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? They're all fucking good and like core foundational pieces of this team. And I'm like, and now I think about it, and like what the Seahawks did in this last draft, Gray Zabel, guard. Their second pick was Nick Emanwari, safety. Low value, quote unquote, low value position groups. But these are 2 core guys. These 2 guys in particular helped turn around the Seahawks franchise. You know what I mean? It's like, why do we? I understand why we do this, but what Heifetz was saying, where it was like, you have to make that a variable. It's a factor, but also this guy's going to be really fucking good. We're really confident in that. I think is not factored in enough, and I think the response to that would be like, no one knows who's going to be good.
It's not like, just about the money. Like position value. It's not just about the money. And the other part of it, like I think the running, like positions are different. Running back, like I think we've talked about this, but I think where we've landed with the running back debate thing is now we're at the point where the running backs aren't paid that much money. And the answer seems to be obvious. It's the cherry on top of the sundae. And if you put the cherry at the bottom, that's stupid. And what the Raiders did with Genti was probably dumb, because taking Genti before you have an offensive line, you end up last in yards per carry. And when it works, the Lions, who then use 4 first-round picks on linemen, all right, well, you take Jahmyr Gibbs, it's probably going to be sick. And if you had put Genti on the Lions, he probably would have been sick, and Gibbs on the Raiders, maybe it wouldn't have been great. And so we've learned that. Saquon on the Giants doesn't help him win. Christian McCaffrey on the Niners doesn't help him win. You put him McCaffrey and the Panthers doesn't win. You put him on the Niners, you put Saquon on the Eagles, it works. Clearly, running back depends on offensive linemen. The difference is a guard is also not paid much money, but a great guard makes other positions better. He makes the center better. He makes the left tackle better. He makes the quarter. Huge. It's a force multiplier.
He's holding the pocket together.
Exactly. The interior. And it matters more, especially you want to get back to a power
and he's opening up inside runs. Yeah.
Safety to me with Caleb Downs is the same thing. a good safety in the modern NFL. I mean, there were teams playing 3 safeties all year. It's like a good safety is making everyone better. Like Kyle Hamilton, the Ravens defense went from like the worst in the league through 6 weeks, and they traded for Loie Gilman, a safety, to move Kyle Hamilton to a different spot in the defense. And then they just went
transformative.
From the worst defense to like probably a little above average like immediately.
I mean, the Steelers moving Jalen Ramsey to safety, the Steelers turned into like a completely different defense the second half of the year.
It is like Caleb Downs to me. It's like, it is an old, it's kind of like, frankly, I guess the simplest way to put it is conventional wisdom that a safety is not worth the pick. Smart teams like the Patriots and Eagles are consistently ahead of conventional wisdom. The Eagles paid Saquon Barkley when it was conventional wisdom not to. The smart teams are ahead of it. The idea that a safety, like as special, and again, anyone could fail. I think I'm as confident as Caleb Downs will be successful in the NFL as any safety prospect I can remember. Maybe my confidence in him is a sign he's going to suck, because that's just
we
how
don't
it's
know.
gone.
We never know anything is the problem. Yeah.
Yeah, but the idea that if he's as good as he could be, that's not valuable, I think that's crazy. He might fail, but if he succeeds, it's unquestionably worth a top 10 pick to me, a top 8 pick. I think outside of the top 2 tackles, a quarterback, I'd rather have him maybe than some of these pass rushers.
Did we discuss, or maybe we did, and I missed it, that the Commanders did fire Cliff Kingsbury today? Have we discussed that?
No, we didn't even get into that. So much stuff has happened.
The Lions also fired their OC, John Morton, whose
Morton.
name I can barely remember ever.
The Commanders fired their offensive coordinator and their defensive coordinator and their offensive line coach.
So this is let's
so only the head coach.
So Cliff Kingsbury theoretically could get fired as a head coach, hired as an offensive coordinator, fired as an offensive coordinator, and then hired as a head coach.
And that would be the second time that's happened to him. Because he got fired a little, but he got fired at Texas Tech, hired as a USC offensive coordinator, and then given an NFL head coaching job in like 6 weeks.
Getting fired as an offensive coordinator in the NFL and then hired like a month later as a head coach in the NFL.
So I believe what happened there, and I could be wrong, is that Kingsbury clashed with Adam Peters, the GM of the Niners. And the further I get back from that,
GM
the more
of the Commanders.
Oh, sorry, yeah, the Commanders. Adam Peters came from the Niners.
He used to be from the 49ers. Yeah.
I keep thinking about Bill. Remember when Ben Johnson, the Lions coordinator, who's now the coach of the Bears, turned down the Washington job, and there was like the Washington was very nasty about it publicly because they turned the plane around, which they could bitch about, but he was saving them time, and they very publicly made fun of him. And Ben Johnson leaked basically that they were basketball guys. And that's why he turned down the Washington job. He thought that Josh Harris was a basketball guy, and they had a lot of Magic Johnson. They had a lot of Bob Myers, the Warriors GM, is retired. Yeah. A lot of basketball thoughts. He was like, I think Dan Quinn is probably fired next year if Washington doesn't make the playoffs. And I think I think Kingsbury wasn't getting along with Adam Peters, but I think the Washington resurgence I'm a little worried about Jaden Daniels, and I'm a little worried about the Washington resurgence. But Cliff also seems to wear out his welcome consistently. Yeah. I think he's really tall and really like has a really sexy voice and a great jawline, and he's great talking to 60-year-old billionaires and 18-year-old high school recruits.
Probably right.
Well, you guys just don't know what to do with that one.
I don't know what to do with that one. But yeah, I think, Craig, your point that he could fail up is very funny.
I just love the idea of getting fired as a coordinator and hired as a head coach in a month.
Man, the Commanders, the Commanders.
I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Cliff Kingsbury's going to get a head coach.
He's probably going to go back to college or something. It sounds like they had like they worded it. At least what I saw is they worded it kind of like this Harbaugh thing where they met and they decided mutually to part ways or whatever because of Clint Kingsbury has like other options that he wants to do.
The Jeremy Fowler reported that the Browns were thinking about firing Stefanski, and they said that the Browns wanted Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel seems like kind of a hot commodity. And
he's more popular outside of Miami than inside Miami.
Yes.
Interesting.
I don't know. I think Carlos was happy. Add this to the list of episodes where Carlos is going to be mad at what we said. I think Carlos was thrilled that Chris Greer, the GM, got fired. And I think that was the right decision. I kept waiting for McDaniel to get fired. The team didn't quit on him.
Well, Carlos just texted us saying he wants Harbaugh in Miami.
Oh, well, you know what's so funny? I think the Ravens did the right thing, but the Ravens could have traded John Harbaugh. I think maybe you don't want to get into a protracted situation, and maybe the timing doesn't work out where you don't want to wait to do that. But I feel like teams would have traded picks to the Ravens for him. I know that extorting it's been there like almost 20 years.
Well, it's funny. It's like, how valuable is a coach like Harbaugh, like as a trade piece when he's not really a play designer, play caller. He's like a culture guy.
He's a CEO.
Yeah,
He's literally a special teams coach. That was his background.
In the Ravens special teams. But ironic, you know what's so funny? This all happened because a priest blessed the end zone of the Steelers stadium, and then the kicker missed a 44-yard field goal in the end zone that priest blessed.
Tyler Loop got Harbaugh fired.
That guy, dude, I think Harbaugh also kind of knew because he was the one who walked Loop out. And I think Harbaugh had an inkling this would happen. I think he was trying to make Loop be like, I'm going to lose my job. Not saying it, but I think he knew I'm going to lose my job and I don't want this kid to fucking feel bad about it.
Also, it appears as though there are videos circulating. I'm trying to get every angle. I'm reaching out to my sources that Boswell's extra point was perhaps tipped. So factor that in.
There you go.
Craig's on the Steelers Reddit checking it out.
Wait,
Zapruder film.
I think took a hard
back into the left. Back into the left.
Right.
Yeah.
It
hit the wire.
Other coordinators.
Right?
So if the Cowboys fired Matt Eberflus, the defensive coordinator, who again was the Bears head coach, and then
Flus is loose once again.
Flus is loose. I mean, that never made sense at any point. That makeup with the Cowboys and Flus, and I don't think he will. I don't think the Cowboys are a winnable situation. I don't know.
What does he have to say about Caleb Williams though?
Yeah, who knows?
You know.
Well, he
Do
didn't.
we want to kind of blow through the rest of this mock draft and have DK kind of like pull the bus wire when he wants to talk about a specific pick?
I want to pull the bus wire a couple places.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right, so I Washington Commanders. You gave him an edge rusher from Auburn, Keldrick Falk.
Mm-hmm.
Anything there? Or you want me to move on?
Big, strong, explosive. Well, pretty fast guy for his size. Like just a big defensive end.
I got to be honest. When
big, powerful.
When you have a
defensive
guy,
end.
an edge rusher, going 7th overall in the NFL draft, and you tell me big, powerful, explosive, I'm like, yeah.
People are comparing him to Michael Williams from the 49ers last year for the 49ers. Like that kind of player.
Okay.
It doesn't get you going, is what you're saying?
I'm like,
I think
this
no. You
guy's
got
going
to say
7th
really
in the
big.
This is the first edge rusher, one of the top 3 edge rushers in the NFL draft. I'm like, yeah, of course he's going to be explosive. He better be.
He's like a bit. I think he's still up and coming young player. Like
Okay.
Well, he's not a tight end, Craig. We don't know if he's athletic.
Okay.
It's not like DK's dog or Secretariat.
8th pick. This kind of surprised me. DK, you gave the Saints a wide receiver to pair with Chris Olave. You gave him Carnell Tate, your guy at Ohio State.
I think it's like the way I look at it is like they've got something good going here. And potentially with Tyler Shuck as like the future of their franchise. Kellen Moore, it seems like he did a pretty good job given what he like took over in New Orleans. So I'm just kind of like, let's build the offense up. Let's get the offense going. You could see some explosive stuff happening with there, and 2 former Ohio State receivers. I don't know. I just kind of like that pairing. It was like basically to give Tyler Shuck some more help.
Okay, and then next pick here we have. This just will never seem normal. The Kansas City Chiefs have the 9th pick.
9th pick.
When are we going to? How long into the draft season will we stop being flabbergasted to see the Chiefs having the 9th pick in the draft?
It's incredibly bizarre. DK, can you pronounce the name of the person you are giving to the Chiefs?
Mansour Delane.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure that's right. That was my guess. Okay. But yeah, I think it's just like they need to get better on defense. They have a lot of holes actually in their offense. I was tempted to go like offensive skill player, but they've done that so much and like completely failed at it the last few years that I was just like, let's go defense here.
I think when we get closer to the draft, I strongly think this will be a trench guy. I think they're either going to replace right tackle Jawan Taylor, who's the highest paid player on the team that isn't.
I thought about offensive line a lot there. Yeah,
maybe
but they took a tackle last year too.
They have Josh Simmons at left side, right side. Maybe they could find someone who can line up correctly. Like we'll see. But
right.
I also think they would go defensive tackle here. Peter Woods at a Clemson. He didn't have a great. He did his 2024 was better than 2025, which is always weird. But also I kind of don't give a shit.
He was the type of player who came. I think a lot of people had him as like the top player in the draft coming into this season, and he's fallen a little bit, but he's still, the upside is he's got like freaky twitch from a big guy.
Yeah, and then it's like
so he could go higher than I have him.
I think the Giants could take him at 5, and I'd be fine. This is a conversation I want to have with you guys over the next few months. It's just like I just think defensive tackles, honestly, I think they're more valuable than pass rushers. I think edge rushers are overrated. I think defensive tackles are underrated. I think, super anecdotal, but if you just look at the last 10 Super Bowl winners, most of the time the best defensive tackle in the fucking league is on the winning Super Bowl team.
Well, the Seahawks, this is again, the Seahawks defense, one of the best defenses we've seen in a really long time. Like Byron Murphy quietly has been playing so good.
He's
he
amazing.
Is a freaking just brick wall. Like teams can't move him off the ball even when they double him. He's so good, and he's like, I think there's so many like fun players on the Seahawks defense. He kind of flies under the radar, but he's been so good.
And that's the thing. It's like we don't have to go on a rant about defensive tackles, but I think the Chiefs next season, right now, if you look at the roster, literally all of their defensive tackles in Kansas City, except one guy, will be 30 or older in next season. And I think the one guy that it's like a practice squad undrafted free agent is the only defensive tackle they'll have in their 20s. So I kind of think that's the floor for Peter Woods.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Because Chris Jones is going to be like 31, 32. I mean, but crazy that they get to pick that high.
10th pick, Cincinnati Bengals. You're giving them Jermod McCoy, cornerback out of Tennessee.
This is kind of like the old thing that they gave up more yards than any other team in the NFL. Maybe we should have some corners.
Okay.
That was kind of like my thinking. McCoy missed the season with the ACL injury that he had during the offseason. But I mean, yeah, if you just look at the Bengals defense, they gave up every metric that matters. Really, they were like top or bottom 3 or 4.
I mean, is there a team that's considered a good team that needs more things than the Bengals? I mean, the Bengals haven't made the playoffs in 3 years, and they kept saying
they need more trench guys too. They could use more offensive linemen. They could use more basically every position in the defense. Yeah, I don't know. This one was tough, but I think like I was just looking at the passing stats, the defensive passing stats. I was like, Jesus.
Speaking of Carlos's Miami Dolphins, the 11th pick, you gave them the Oregon tight end who has the biggest biceps I've ever seen in my life.
This is so cheeky.
His biceps are crazy.
I actually think they're triceps. I think his biceps are
His biceps triceps. On his biceps.
He looks like Craig. He looks like someone who could get in the salty spittoon.
Yeah, he looks like he has anchor arms, like you have to blow up from SpongeBob. He is genuinely one of the more jacked people I've seen. Just him sitting. God, there's a shot of him sitting at a press conference, and
his arms are fucking like we can't make a big enough deal about this. His arms are the biggest I've ever seen on a tight end.
It'll be
and he's not super tall, right? DK, he's
like 6'3".
Yeah.
He looks kind of like a move tight end. My initial sort of reaction to him, like first watch, was he kind of reminds me of like Laporta, where he's a little smaller. I think he's like 6'3", 245 or something like that. But he's pretty good at blocking, and he works really hard at it. And I think he's the type of tight end where, despite the fact he's not like 6'5", 6'6", he could still be pretty instrumental in the run game in terms of like what Mike McDaniel wants to do in the run game. Like that's a big part of their philosophy and identity on offense. But he's also, explosive after the catch. He's really good at the catch point. I just remember 2 years ago when Johnny Smith was like a huge part of their offense. I'm like, I could picture him having that type of role, but he's probably more effective as a blocker. So that was kind of where I was going with that. I just think they need more weapons on offense, and he is the type of guy who can be a factor in the run game too. So that was kind of my thinking on that. I don't know if he'll go this high. It's always tough to know with tight ends. I think the last few tight ends that have been taken really high have panned out really well for their teams. If you look at like Brock Bowers, Colston Loveland this year ended up on a really like high note. Like he's looking like he's going to be a great pick for the Bears. Tyler Warren has been really good. So there's like now a little bit more precedent of taking these, quote unquote, like pass catching tight ends early and them having like big impact early on.
There's also way more precedent. We're going to have to talk about this in depth, do an investigation. Kenyon Sadiq is at the cutting edge of these guys are showing more skin during games than ever.
He has the tiniest little shoulder pads.
Tucks his shoulder like Kenyon Sadiq. David Bailey, Texas Tech does this too. Like David Bailey's dominating the Oregon game.
It's like Michael Bennett. Do you guys remember Michael Bennett's shoulder pads?
It's like the Vince Papale shoulder pads, like the little bitty ones.
Yeah,
and they tuck they tuck the jerseys, the shoulders into the pads. They keep the jerseys tucked into the pads, like Micah Parsons with the
it really makes your arms pop though.
It does.
I might
but then
start
also
doing that on the pod.
Same.
Maybe I'm just old, but I feel like more players than ever are wearing their pants above the knee, like exposed skin.
It's like up to your quad.
If you skin your knee on turf, it fucking hurts. But like David Bailey is just dominating this Oregon game. And he looks like that's how guys look in practice or like warm-ups, like the jersey, like you see the pads at the bottom, like it's cleavage. And then but I also seeing his knees and I'm like, this guy is like underboob.
They're showing underboob out there.
Yeah, it's like underboob. It's fucking
the male
the
version of underboob. It's provocative. It gets people going.
In general, when like I see like sometimes I realize like how little pads NFL players actually wear. Like there's like some receivers who don't wear leg pads, like no thigh pads at all. They're just
none of them
wearing like compression.
Think about how
shorts.
much it hurts. Yeah.
None of them wear pads on their lower half. When you high school football, knee pads, no, none of them. No, because speed is the name of the game and makes you slower and it makes you feel tight. None of them wear knee pads. None of them wear hip pads. None of them wear any of that.
Yeah. What is this? The 80s?
Like the fact that like waist down, no pads, you can like see their midriff. You can like just see their stomach. I'm like, man, they got their pads tucked into their shoulders. There's like not a lot going on in terms of protection.
Yeah.
Soon it's just going to be like they're wearing these like giant alien concussion protective helmets and then no pads below
It's
them.
like the old scuba diver helmet things with the cord. That's just all they're wearing.
Okay, let's round this out. So you have the Cowboys at 12 taking
Caleb Downs,
Heifetz's
Heifetz's boy.
Caleb Downs,
Yeah.
which feels
He'll
right.
probably go higher than this. I don't know. I was like, it's one of those things where the positional value is there. It's like people don't, it's hard to predict where he'll go, but yeah.
And then you have one more, we're 13th pick. You have the Rams who have the Falcons pick taking Avion Terrell, the corner out of Clemson.
Yeah. No more Flat Stanley. Well, no more relying on him wholly. I think it was like one of the main issues for the Rams this year has been like some cornerback issues. So that was kind of where I was thinking about that. This is the younger brother of AJ Terrell.
Did you do that on purpose? That was really fucked up to give the Falcons pick to the Rams.
No, I did not do that on purpose. I didn't do that on purpose, but I like it.
AJ Terrell, the best cornerback on the Falcons, and you gave his brother to the Rams with the Falcons pick.
Yeah, I did not actually think that, but that's funny. Yeah.
It's pretty cheeky.
He's a fun player to watch, man. He's like always around the ball, super tenacious, a little bit of like Devin Witherspoon personality to him. He's fun to watch.
Okay. That does it. That's DK's first.
Check out the rest of the mock draft on theringer.com.
Yeah.
Great website.
What's the URL? Do we
Any
have
other?
It's quite long.
I have a.
Never mind.
Yeah, we'll put it in the show. We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah. Link description.
And the Discord is in there. Instagram, TikTok, follow us. But most importantly, Netflix, type in Ringer. Hit the set reminder. I have an email I want to read you guys. But first, anything else on Harbaugh being fired or any of the other? Did anyone other? Oh, Bengals Taylor Britt sentenced to 5 days in jail. Oh, 5 days. All right. They don't need a cornerback for that. Any other people get fired while we were recording?
John Morton, but that's about it, I think.
That's like, yeah.
Still coming in. Still stuff happening.
Any last thoughts on John Harbaugh?
No. Carlos is sending us Dolphins propaganda.
Yeah. Carlos is already like
John Harbaugh.
following the breadcrumbs.
Yeah. Jordan Rodriguez reporting that the Dolphins are requesting an interview with the Chargers assistant GM Chad Alexander, who DK's doppelganger brought into LA, and they spent a lot of time in Baltimore under Harbaugh. And so now I guess the Dolphins want to bring in this GM formerly of Baltimore, which could then reconnect with John Harbaugh.
Ooh. Interesting.
And then Scott Hansen weighed in and said, whoa, you don't part ways with the coach to make yourself feel better. You part ways with the coach to make the franchise better.
Can you do it in his voice, please?
Whoa. You don't part ways with the coach to make yourself feel better, folks. You part ways with the coach to make the franchise better. We'll see which version this is over the next year or two. As
Coming
always,
up
in the offseason, this is the firing hour.
When wins become losses and losses become wins.
Jackie hates the witching hour. 18 weeks in a row, Jackie's like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Oh, boy.
Where hirings become firings and firings become hirings.
Nice.
All right. A couple emails here. We'll get out of here.
Emails.
People, we did the rewatchables. We did basically like our awards for the season, which was really fun episode, and I highly recommend listening to that if you didn't give it a chance. But I would listen to our awards episode from last week, and a couple people emailed in with some things we forgot or didn't realize. Starting with Sean, very important email from Sean. The subject line, there's no text. The subject line is just, Cub Buck is the same name when said forward and backwards.
What? Is it really?
Cub Buck. Backwards is Cub Buck.
Oh my God. Maybe that's why he's named that.
Cub Buck.
God.
Oh, that's really funny.
What's the word for that? Like
an anagram or a palindrome?
Palindrome, like race car.
Yeah. Cub Buck. It's
Wow.
like Steve Holt. Cub Buck.
Oh, it's called, what is it called?
Palindromes with the spelling.
Palindrome, yes. That's
Dimitri Martin also has written the longest palindrome in the world, which is awesome.
Oh, really?
You like told a joke that's like a palindrome.
Which again, shouldn't palindrome be a palindrome?
That's good. They're like a list
Really
of
missed.
words.
Yeah, they really
it's the
missed an
wrong word.
opportunity there.
They should change palindrome to kabuck.
Kabuck means palindrome.
It's a kabuck.
What's your favorite palindrome before Cub-Buck?
Race car comes to mind. I probably don't have a favorite. It's just whichever ones I can think of.
There's like an I'm trying to remember like famous one that from childhood.
There's like sentences put together.
Oh,
that I
a
remember.
man, a plan, a canal, Panama. Boob is a palindrome.
Well done.
Yeah.
You ever flip the calculator upside down in math class and do that?
Boobless.
These
Yeah,
kids, that's why
boobless.
society's
Iconic.
coming apart. This kid's
That was a big part of my
I know.
life.
Can you
Now
believe
they're
it
just
went from like
now they're
people
just
doing
actually
that-
googling boobs in class and not writing it out on a fucking.
Right.
They're having AI just make boobs for them. Like, look, there's like 6 on.
Go. Oh, this is another one. Go hang a salami. I'm a lasagna hog. I remember that from childhood.
DK's a little too.
Go
excited.
hang a salami, comma, I'm a lasagna hog.
I didn't know DK loves palindromes.
DK,
I remember like reading these back
Email
in
us
the
more
day.
palindromes for DK. I want to read these to DK. Email us.
All
more
right, I'll stop
palindromes.
Googling them then. Yeah. Palindromes are fun.
These are like AI sentences. Like I'm looking at one cigar, toss it in a can. It's so tragic.
That doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's a palindrome.
That's
Was
like
it a
something
cat?
Fernando Mendoza would say.
Yeah. Yo, banana boy.
Come on. That's good.
No lemon, no melon.
I very much just remember a man, a plan, a canal, Panama. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, is that the only email that you had?
I had more. We could get out of here. Can read it
Okay.
next episode.
Cub Buck blew my mind.
Go Buck.
Cub Buck. Is his last name B-U-C though?
No, but whatever.
Yeah, don't
Close enough.
fucking ruin it. We had a good thing going.
Sorry. Be
Jeez.
cool, man.
All right. Let's get out of here. Thank you, DK. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Austin. Thank you, Cam. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, Kai. Thank you, everyone, for listening, watching. Set the reminder on Netflix or follow us on Spotify or wherever you get your pods. Watch, listen, whatever. Instagram, TikTok, Discord's in the episode description. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to Steve Bisciotti, Ravens owner, for doing that while we were recording. That was actually
That was
super
great. Great timing.
convenient. But of course, thank you, Lord.
Lord.
Thank you, Teddy Swims. I know one song by him.
Oh, I thought that was a palindrome. I just assumed, but it's not.
No.
What's the song you know?
Wait, Teddy Swims. What's
Lose
Ed
Control?
Sheeran's handle?
What?
Oh, it's someone else.
A man, I'm a lasagna hog. No, wait. I'm a bologna hog.
Ed Sheeran is Teddy's photos?
Teddy's photos. I thought that's what.
Teddy
I don't know
Swims.
what Teddy Swims is.
I'm vaguely familiar with Teddy Swims. Not a whole
I
lot.
don't know anything about him. To be
How did his
honest.
name pop into your head?
Just, I know that song. Lose Control?
Oh,
You would
that
recognize
guy.
How's it go?
That song's great.
Wow.
Well, let me rephrase.
not
That
gonna-
song's super stuck in my head.
How's it go, DK?
No, I'm not going to try it.
Dude,
Oh,
I think
I
it's
do
like
know
a
this song.
harder.
Zing, control.
Whoa.
Yeah, that thing's just
It's not like you can just say it, Craig.
rattling around.
I
for
don't
you.
know how to explain it, but I don't like songs like that. You know,
You just can't explain
Well, 'cause, like, I
your
don't-
taste for things,
that's
can
just
you?
a pop song, but there are certain songs that are like that, and I don't like them, and I don't know how to describe them, and I'm trying to think of other songs that are like that, like
Like, do you
the
like?
famous Benson Boone song. Don't
Mhm.
like it.
You don't like Flippy Boy?
I don't like Little Flippy Boy.
I got it. I'm embarrassed to say the control that it's funny. I call it the control song. with
Beautiful
Kendrick Lamar.
things.
It's I don't like when lose control. I guess I'm embarrassed to say that if that song's on in like a Starbucks or something and I'm talking to someone, I actually was like in my head, I'm like, I wish you would stop talking so I could listen to this controls.
Yeah,
I totally know what you're getting at, though,
I
Craig.
don't know how to describe it.
Yeah,
It's cheap.
Yeah, maybe it's like
not
songs that are
cheap.
they're designed to be earworms, but isn't it? I feel like most pop songs are like
I feel like I'm being
Espresso is
hacked.
an earworm, but I like that song. Yeah, I don't know.
But if
I
I saw him do it at the Grammys and I was like, I think this guy, he's kind of losing control.
Is it sort of like songs that are designed to show off how you can sing?
Maybe. That's really
Like
good.
your range?
Because Beautiful Things, he like screams it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it.
You're like, okay,
Is
we
there
get it.
a
You can
difference
sing.
for you when men or women do it? Like if there's like a Celine Dion song, like I assume Heart Will Go On, like or like songs where it's like supposed
because,
to design
like,
for your range.
Adele.
Wicked.
I'm not like mad at Adele singing, whatever.
Park and Bark Legend.
Hello. So I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe
Email
it's
us if you do music and you know what we're talking about. Please.
The only other song I can think of right now is Benson Boone's "Beautiful Things." That's like kind of the same type of song to me, but I don't know if it's like a ballad or what. I don't know.
Someone's gonna know. Email us if you know why Craig
Interesting.
hates "Lose Control" by Teddy Swims. We're
I
gonna get
really
an
like
answer.
that question. Yeah.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.